It's like my home, like to go from here to outside the gate, I have to cross 3 military camps. And I see them in those abandoned houses, which were homes for someone. They destroyed it and made it torture camps. So that's, and now Muzammil will explain in detail. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. We've had a long day, but thankfully we've had some food, so you shouldn't be fidgety. You should be a little bit tired, but it's okay. So there's a lot that I'm going to follow up on this. I think the first thing I want to mention is the numbers. At the peak in 2008, I think it is, American forces that were in Afghanistan, Iraq, and what was the third country? Afghanistan, Iraq. Anyway, Afghanistan, Iraq, the combined forces were 250,000. That's a lot. In Kashmir, you have more than 3 times that number. So the 1 to 5 ratio, you have more than 3 times that number in Kashmir. Now, I was discussing, I'm going to stand up, I can't stand up too long. I was discussing with my friends that, how I should start. Kashmir is a huge issue. I don't want to take you back in history, because if we go back to history, Kashmir has a 6,000-year history. So we're not something that we created overnight. We're not like Israel, but we were created in 1957. So we have a rich history. Kashmir at one point in time was considered to be the center of the educational institution of Central Asia. All information, all data collection, all intellectuals, philosophers came from Kashmir. We have ties with Iran, we have ties with Turkey, we have ties with most of Central Asia. Alexander the Great, when regardless of how great he was, when he traveled the world and he was occupying lands and doing his imperialistic duty, he even touched Kashmir. You have the Mughal Empire, you have the Ottoman Empire, you pretty much have everyone in history. Kashmir's history is 6,000 years old, and most of that time has been under some form of occupation. Further to that, I also discussed that maybe I should talk to you about the history in terms of, in 1947 this happened, 1953 that happened, 1964 this happened, 2008. The problem with that is, it's not worth it. I'm not going to tell you who Sheikh Abdullah signed the treaty and then this happened. It doesn't make sense to anybody. Normally when I speak, it's mostly interactive, so if you want to interrupt me at some point, it's not a problem. And I will be asking questions like the one right now. How many of you actually know anything about Kashmir before you met me? 1, 2. You have just about half. And how many of you know what the issue of Kashmir is in detail, as you know Palestine, as you know Libya, as you know Afghanistan, as you know Palestine, as you know the other countries?
Okay, no one.
Half what you said. Half. Yeah. That is a shame. And I'm going to follow on to why it's shameless. Where is your MOIC? Or EHR, whatever it is. You have the MOIC. What does the second letter stand for? Islam? How many of you here are Muslims? Most of you? And you don't know what's happening in Kashmir? That is a shame. If you love Palestine, you love Libya, you love Afghanistan, you love Syria, you love Palestine, you love all of these other countries that are part of the Muslim Ummah. You prick part of the Muslim Ummah, you prick part of your body, the entire body feels that pain. And it's the same with the Ummah. I'm not going to go into a religious rant here, but I have to cater to what the audience is. And the audience is Muslim. And I'm saying this again. If you love all your other brothers and sisters from the rest of the world, you must love Kashmir. And if you don't, and if you do not have that feeling, and you cannot conjure that feeling, you have to question your iman. Wallahi, you have to question your iman. And I'm going to mention here Bangladesh as well. And any other nation that I've forgotten, forgive me. I don't do it on purpose. I'm not like the imams during the khutbah when they do fi Palestine, fi Iraq, fi Libya, fi Afghanistan, and then they forget Kashmir. Even though there is a Kashmiri sitting right in front of me saying, Kashmir, Kashmir, Kashmir. Never happened. I don't know if it's intentional or whatever it is, but it happens. And I'm asking you for forgiveness if I missed any other country. I'm not going to go into the history. I'm going to be very, very brief in terms of how we get to where we are today. 1947, Pakistan and India divorced. Muslim majority went to Pakistan, Hindu majority stayed with India. Kashmir was a Muslim majority. By law at the time, the Muslim majority should have gone to Pakistan. Kashmir should have gone to Pakistan. Facts, not opinion. My opinion will come later. What happened after that was 3 wars were fought because India said it's an integral part of India. Pakistan said no, it should be an integral part of Pakistan. Wars were fought, people were killed, and since then, what's happened in regards to the human rights situation, just keep it in play. I should have showed you the beauty of Kashmir.
Okay.
And now I'm going to talk about war destruction, so it's not really complimentary. But I agree with, where are you? No. There you are. I agree with everything that you say the first day that we met in regards to imagery is everything. I will tell you murders, I will tell you rapes, I will tell you a destruction of property, I will tell you about different illegal acts that are putting children under in jail, prepubescent children. I mean, I'm talking about 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds in jail for 2 years without trial. And that is law that no one can apparently shake. It is against the International Charter. International Human Rights Charter, sorry. We are living in a situation where literally it is like having Nazi Germany in Kashmir, except it feels much worse. A mother doesn't know if her son is going to return from school. Every child, you know, there was a joke in the West. Anyone that's come to London, you know that most of these kids nowadays, they don't, you know, they're not even this high. They have mobile phones and iPads and this, that, and the other. And I think to myself, when I was at that age, I was busy playing with Skeletrix and toys and He-Man and whatnot. In Kashmir, every child must have a mobile phone so that the mother can call him every 10 minutes to make sure that he's okay. Even the old that don't know how to use mobile phones, but they definitely know how to press the answer call and the reject call and their home number to make sure that their family is okay, or if the family wants to check on them, they're okay. Now, why? Once the partition between India and Pakistan happened, Kashmir was in a situation where they had to decide what do we want to do. Kashmiris wanted, at the time, they wanted to follow the UN mandate, which was to accede to Pakistan. Since then, times have changed. Pakistan managed to capture a piece of Kashmir. They called it Free Kashmir. In our language, Azad Kashmir. They are autonomous, which is what Pakistan wants for Kashmir. They say it's a part of Pakistan because of the law, but they have given them autonomy so you can run your country as you wish. In the Indian occupied side of Kashmir, where I'm from, where these brothers are from, they don't consider it autonomous. They don't consider it as, they don't consider there is an option to negotiate. They say it is an integral part of India. Imagine if America said the same thing about Afghanistan, and think about how Israel, what they're doing with Palestine. It's pretty much the same thing. There are so many similarities between the issues in Palestine and the issues in Kashmir. But then there are some differences as well. But let's focus on the similarities. If I came into your home, I slapped you around a little bit, then I said this is my house and you know, you have to ask permission to live here. You have to pay rent. Yeah. Who told me rent? Who said rent? I'll find you. I'll find you. I want to. Where is she? Put your hand up. There you are. Rent. You know, you mentioned about the properties that are still under construction, that are, you know, that should be technically free, but you have to pay rent. Imagine doing that, but it's actually your own home. It's not somebody else, it's your own home, and you have to ask for permission to live in that property. You have to ask for permission to be able to walk outside. When I mean permission, you have to carry your ID card constantly. If you don't have your ID card with you, you're probably shot dead or you're sent to jail or some god-awful things are going to happen to you. And who do we show the identity card to? We don't show the identity card to another Kashmiri to confirm that we're from here. We have to show it to an Indian who doesn't belong to the land anyway. So I have to prove to him that I'm a Kashmiri to somebody that's from 3,000 miles away. That's an identity.